I can't do this anymore. I mean it, you guys. My head is in pain. In literal fucking pain over trying to educate just one person in the Ruby fandom. One person who apparently has a lot of leeway in the Ruby fandom. And we're post Volume 7, and they're trying to justify... This all started on Twitter, by the way, with a Vex making a post. And I commented something on it, and that's when this bitch from Canada, who's a 3D animator, has come in and tried to lecture me. Oh, this got good. This bitch is so stupid. I mean, this level of ignorance. Oh, she believes that Argus, and in turn, the Elysian military base in Argus, has communications with Atlas. And I'm trying to explain to her, I'm like, they don't. They don't. There's a huge plot surrounding this. One, in terms of world building, the CCT towers. As soon as one CCT tower goes down, there's no worldwide communications. Beacons down, that means no one can communicate internationally. All messages have to be carried by either person or by ship. There is no international communications. We should all know this. The plot point that even came up in Volume 6 is, and it's actually mentioned in World of Remnant, that there are local towers all over Remnant, but if they're out in the open, they get attacked by Grimm. But this one, safely in Argus, I don't know why it isn't in the friggin' city, why they put it up on a friggin' hill for some reason, but yes, there is a smaller tower there. But the jurisdiction of that tower is actually shown to us. Something Ruby did right. When Weiss gets on the ship that's getting piloted by Maria, we actually witness this ship leave the communication range of the Argus military base. And then when it's coming back, it enters back into that communication range. It displays that there is a limit to the communication. This bitch goes on saying, the reason they were able to get into Atlas is because Atlas knew that Weiss was on the ship. I'm like, explain to me how they knew Weiss was on the ship. Nobody in Atlas knew Weiss Schnee was on that friggin' ship. Oh, but it's an Atlas military ship. That's why they let it in. And I'm like, you saw in the show that there's an embargo up. A military blockade. And you even see Ironwood, he's talking to an Elysian. He's talking to Jacques Schnee, who's trading dust. He says nothing in, nothing out. He goes, I don't give a shit what it is. Nothing's getting in, nothing's getting out. This is why Weiss had to go to that pilot who was apparently shady and illegal. He was trading illegally when he should not have. This is all plot points in the show. This is all shit that's been shown to us. This is how stupid this bitch gets. I explained to her that the Elysian military base is much like an embassy in a different country. I'm in Australia, for example. We have an American embassy here for America, where politicians will obviously come to represent America here when they're staying here. That's also considered, in this instance, if we're talking on Remnant, the Elysian military base is Solaris turf. We're talking national now. This is Anima, Solaris. Atlas is on Solaris. Anima is where Argus is. If you go into the military base, politically, you're standing on Solaris turf. But as allies to Anima, it's the whole diplomat thing. But what this woman doesn't comprehend, this is the level of stupidity. And I can't tolerate, like, I have trouble with tolerating minor stupidity, but this is major stupidity. Just because they're Elysians, And I'm trying to explain to her, they're Atlesians on another nation. This is 2 different nations. Worldwide communications is down. They cannot communicate. She believes they can communicate because Atlas should be able to communicate with other Atlesians. That's... No matter how much detail I go into trying to explain this, it's in the world of Remnant, it's in the show, it's explaining to you, you cannot communicate overseas. That means that everything up to this point, and it could create a few plot holes in the future of the show, because the councilwoman in Volume 7 says that the other nations have been made aware that Solaris and Atlas are not responsible for what happened at Beacon, and the only way they could have done that is send ships to the other nations as military envoys to get the message across before the embargo went up. But going back, like, I can't. And the thing that's pissing me off, this bitch, she's one of the ones that's in charge of the main Ruby Amino, Maru. You see, she's got an account on there, and she's one of the fucking leaders. And this is the level. This is a person who doesn't understand the basics of the show, the lore of the show, the world building of the show. She doesn't understand it, and she's a leader of the fandom's Amino, and she's banning people from that Amino because they're calling her a fucking idiot. Because she is. She is. The level of both ignorance and stupidity you need, and this person being a leader is influencing other people in the fandom. She's going ahead and telling the other fans on this Amino, yeah, they had communications, they knew Weiss was coming, and I'm like, bitch, in Volume 7, they indicate that there's an early warning sensor system around Solaris, but, like, that's how... At the end of the show, one of them looks at their friggin' laptop, they're like, oh, the early warning system's down, and I hated that plot point. They should never have brought it in. If you have an early warning system, it serves 2 purposes. One, Solaris and the Atlesians should have been aware of Team Ruby, Junior, Crow, and all that on the ship. They should have been aware of them the moment they entered the airspace of the continent, if you had early warning systems. But they don't. The ship gets all the way to Atlas and Mantle before it's friggin' hailed. No military codes are transported. I said, take all the people that have got in, from Watson, Tyrion, Cinder and Neo, Team Ruby and Junior. Not one person who's entered Solaris has actually provided military clearance with the military. And they have early warning systems. They should be stopping people at the cliffs of the friggin' of Solaris. The early warning system, you should have to land there, provide clearance, and then you go on. And that should only be under emergency situations, given that there's a friggin' embargo up and no one should be moving. If anything, the fact that there's an embargo up, in Volume 6, Cordovan should have just said, yeah, we're here alone. There's no communications until someone from Solaris flies out here and tell us the embargo's over. We can't go back to Atlas. Hence the reason Cordovan should have been in charge. Whoever would have been in charge of Argus would have had to been a very important person, because ideally they are an extension of Atlas. So this is it. This is it. This is why I'm having such a hard time dealing with the Ruby fandom. The people who are leading the fandom and are influencing the fandom and are policing the fandom against negativity and hatred are fucking morons. And I can't. I tried so many messages trying to explain how international sovereign, how the communication, how everything's supposed to work, and nah, I'm right. And I'm not tolerating you because you're being rude. And I'm like, just be aware of how much it hurts someone who's right to explain to someone who claims to be a hardcore fan how fucking moronic and stupid they are. Because I swear to God, if this woman, like if anyone else is online, if Vex, I swear to fucking God, if you see this person in your message section, explain it to them in a way, because obviously they follow you and they care about your opinion. Explain to them how fucking dumb they are. Please. Because I'm gonna smack my head against the wall.